Hello and welcome to another podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. If you're watching this on video, please note, new location. Also, this is not a podcast you're watching. You're watching a video where I'm talking about podcasting. If you would like to get the podcast, all 140 episodes now, that's available at podcastpontifications.com. It's a brand new week, and you might be able to notice I'm in a new space. It sounds different. It looks different. It is different because I moved. I moved locations. I'm still in Phoenix. Shivo Studios, Simpler Media Productions packed up and moved, 5 or 6 miles away. And I thought it would be a great reason for me to kick off a new miniseries. You know me and my affinity for miniseries, Mr. Podcaster out there, or Mrs. Podcaster out there. I don't judge. I want to talk about change. I want to talk about change and how change, scary as it is, might actually be better, and actually oftentimes will be better, and certainly should be better for your podcast. Today I want to talk about a physical location. I've got more change I want to talk about through the week, but today the focus is on the physical change and why changing the physical location of where your podcast is either recorded and or produced can be good and should be embraced by you, the working podcaster. You see, when you develop a certain routine, I have a friend of mine whose name is George Hrobb. He's a very talented podcaster as well. Check him out, geologicpodcast.com. George has a song with the lyrics, wish, curse, groove, rut. Wish, curse, groove, rut. Which is it? Is it a wish? How does a wish switch to become a curse? Kind of the same thing. And when you're in a groove versus being in a rut. And I've talked about being in a rut, being in a groove previously. But I want you, the working podcaster out there, to think about change, physical change, as a great way to break free of the rut cycle. Not only that, but also to give your guests something better. Something significantly better. The listeners of your show should get something better when you think about changing your physical location and when you actually make those physical changes. The reason that having a shift in your physical location is a good thing is it brings about that change that we're talking about. Let's talk about the easiest thing to do, or maybe the hardest thing to do, because I recognize that for many people change is hard. Me personally, I love it, but it's hard for a lot of people. But I think one of the reasons why the change is so hard for a lot of people is you've developed that particular routine. I've got this microphone. I talk into this microphone. I've got this set of software, this DAW, this digital audio workspace. Think what DAW stands for. This is the thing that I actually do. I want you to change the physical nature of things first. Physical nature of things changing. One, it gives you, the working podcaster, a breath of fresh air on your show. Okay, it's uncomfortable because things aren't the same as what they were, but you'll have a different sound. And the part of your brain that likes change, and we all have a part of our brain that likes change, even though you may have tamped it down over the years, that little part of your brain that likes change is going to go, ooh, I get to explore something new. I get to have a new challenge that I face. So just having a different environment automatically stimulates that portion of your brain. Now, why does it make your podcast better when that's stimulated? Well, one, you're getting back to that creative person that you used to be. When you first started your show, way back in the day, perhaps last week, you had that creative spark. This gives it to you once again. So you are going to be doing more interesting and innovative things. Here's the cool thing. Your audience is going to reward you for this. If you start making a physical change to where you record or where you produce, your audience will reward you with the change even if they don't know you changed anything. See, I've chosen to spill. Everything is new. You're hearing lots more reverb in this big room right now. I got a couch and other things coming. I'll be working on that later on. But you don't have to spill. In fact, you probably shouldn't spill. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know. It depends on your relationship with your audience. I'm very much an open book. You guys know this is the process. I'm trying to make you have a better podcast. I'm trying to make me have a better podcast. So for me, It's all about sharing. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way for you. But if your audience, even if they don't know that you've made a change, they will recognize that something is different. Ooh, the sound is different. And for the vast majority of them who've been listening for a while to your program, they will reward you by maybe commenting, but by certainly staying subscribed. You might lose a few here and there, but what I think is an even better idea is that physical change, that sound change your audience will recognize, might make them break out of their habit of just listening to you and maybe, just maybe, share your content with someone else. It re-sparks that creative area of their brain as well. And maybe it gives them a reason, subliminally, unconsciously, or perhaps overtly, to re-share your content because it just sounds different. Now, it's easy for me to talk about physical change because it's me and a microphone. I mean, I'm doing a monologue show. But one big change you can make is if you are doing interviews or you have other people on the program, here's one great idea. Maybe don't do that on the phone always. Maybe there's an opportunity for you to change the physical space of your show by going where your guest is. Or maybe just adding in some in-the-field pieces is a possibility. It all depends on the format of your show and how accessible you are. But I have had clients who have been asking me, how do I develop that physical space so that when someone is in the office or in the area, I can get them to me? That's great. You can do that with a nice, relatively inexpensive, but professional set of equipment and setup, which I'm working on getting this new place set up. But you can also get the things necessary to do remote recordings because perhaps you travel a lot. And perhaps there are people that you are traveling to or people in the area you're traveling to who would make excellent guests or excellent contributors to your program. Go record them physically. Be there and present with them. It will and always does massively change the dynamic. Massively change the dynamic. Don't underestimate how a physical change, something as innocuous as a physical change, can make a drastic impact on your show. Now, it doesn't have to be leaving your house, flying halfway around the world to interview someone. It could just be changing where your desk is. Honestly, it really could be as simple as changing where your desk is. It might be upgrading your microphone. I don't really care about that. That's not the most important thing. It is the important thing that I want you to change is your brain, which then changes your voice, which then changes the content that goes out to your audience. And again, your audience will, I promise you, reward you with this sort of change. They will like the physical change even if they don't notice it. They will like it. They will reward you by staying subscribed and telling even more people about your show. And isn't that the idea? We want more people to be listening to our program not because we want it, but because we've made the effort. You have made the effort to make your podcast better. And that's my goal here. I want to give you ideas to make your podcast better, not just easier. Now, if you're a business out there and you're thinking, wow, this is a great idea. How do we do that, Evo? Well, first thing you should do is probably get in touch with me. Evo@podcastlaunch.pro reaches me. You may not know this, but this is what I do. My only job is making podcasts, and my clients are all businesses all around the world who outsource a lot of the stuff to me and my team. Go to podcastlaunch.pro to check out all the services that I offer to my clients, and I shall be back tomorrow with yet another Podcast Pontifications. Cheers!